There is no shortage of talk. The feeds are full, the streets are loud. But where is the direction? Most conversations end exactly where they began, on a screen. There is a gap between youth energy and institutional power, a void that visibility alone cannot fill. Introducing the Arise Dialogue series, a strategic media response to the challenges of a generation. Not just a talk show, a trusted space for practitioners, decision makers, and youth voices to finally intersect. No more noise, just dialogue. Architecting the future, one dialogue
at a time. Good evening and welcome to another milestone episode of the Arise Dialogue series. Right here on Orange TV, I am Steffi Tekpete, your host. They say that change is the only constant, but for the African continent, change has often been a reaction to crisis rather than a result of design. Today, we are shifting the narrative. We aren't just talking about change as a vague concept, we are talking about architecture. 13 years ago, a spark was lit in a small radio studio room at Central University. It was a call for youth to arise. Today, that spark has evolved into a global movement, a sophisticated federation of agencies designed to build sustainable social systems from the ground up. Joining me today is the master architect behind the vision. He is a leader who believes that the African youth is not a problem to be solved, but a resource to be harnessed. Please welcome the Global CEO of Youth Arise Organization, Mr. Moses Bafo Ewa.
On a campus in Ghana, a student named Moses Bafo Ewa experienced firsthand the transformative power of mentorship. He saw a solution to the challenges facing his peers. What started as an unusual idea, gathering high school students to share this gift, quickly grew. As the number of mentees soared, a vision took root. Youth Arise.
It's an honor to have you on set, Chief.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so before we get into the blueprint of these, massive social systems that you are building today, I want us to take a step back. 2013, a campus radio show, when you first sat behind the microphone, did you see a global federation emerging out of, what you were doing on set? Was there a specific moment or a frustration that forced you to move from behind the radio out onto the actual field?
I didn't see a federation of 7 agencies in 2013, 13 years ago when we started this work. It was all about the love for young people. It was all about trying to give young people direction and trying to help young people to find purpose and trying to help the community. That was it. It was not about, there was no goal, there was no end in mind. Like, you're a young person and you want to do something with your life. You want to do something that is meaningful, that is purposeful. You just don't want to just go through the motion and just live your life anyhow and carelessly. And you feel that you have something to offer. And you feel that a lot of young people also need help. And you said that, then let me do something. Let me see what I can do. So it was never about one day building a federation of agencies, organizing conferences all across and doing all these things that people have in mind when they start. It was never about those things. It actually really started as a news, as a magazine where we were trying to get information across. Yeah. Then we realized that radio has more power. Yeah. So why don't you translate what we are doing in the magazine on air and see what will come out of it? So that was the whole thing. It was never about the federation one day.
So it all started as a passion.
As a passion, as to help people, especially young people.
Wow.
That was the focus.
It's so amazing to hear people talk about how they had just a genuine interest in helping young people to become better, because such a rare thing to see in our day. And
we believe that that is how our world will become a better place, when people have genuine interest for people. And when we understand that young people are not just the leaders of tomorrow, but the partners of today. And that if young people are the partners of today, then whatever you can do to ensure that they are equipped and they are ready for the future we envisage, we must do it so that they have that future.
And we must do whatever we must do for young people to have the future that they envisage. So we're going to go back to the university days, still on that conversation. We know that Youth Arise didn't start in a boardroom, and that it started as a radio program while you were in college. So take us back to the university days. What was the specific void? What specifically did you notice? Or what was the problem you saw that made you realize that you needed to start a radio show for young people? And at what point did you actually realize that the radio show was not enough?
I realized that the void was not a lack of talent. It was not because people are not talented, people are not skillful, and people cannot do anything. The whole thing was because there was nothing like direction. I feel the challenge of young people is not because they cannot do something, but I feel the challenge is because they lack direction. I have seen the power in what young people can become and can do if they are directed and if they are led, and if they even allow themselves to be led. I've seen what can happen. So the whole thing about going on radio was to see, can we give them something worthwhile to consume? Because whether we like it or not, everything on air is, people are creating content and people are giving people what to consume. And what you eat is what you become. And the big question, what are young people eating? What are young people consuming? So the whole thing about going on radio was that, okay, it's time to give young people something worthwhile to consume. Then we realized that, okay, we've been giving young people something worthwhile to consume for some time now. But are you aware that people can be excited and motivated today, and tomorrow the passion dies out, the energy goes low? So somebody can listen to this show, watch this show right now. Wow, I want to be like this man. Wow, I want to do the things that he's doing. Wow, I'm excited about everything that is going on. Or I'm inspired by some of the things that I've heard him say. But by Monday we forget.
That's true.
And especially, you see, and in those days it was not like it was a YouTube program where you could go back to listen to or to watch the video again, and the episode again. You are fortunate. Your audience can and your viewers can go back and watch the show over and over again. But it was a radio program. After the program, that is it. After you pick out the nuggets. So we said that, okay, yes, we are giving young people direction and giving young people something worthwhile to consume. But why don't we go to the field and pick people and intentionally process them from being raw materials to becoming finished product? And you understand that the processing is not an easy work, and the processing does not just happen. An orange does not just move from being an orange fruit to becoming an orange juice. There's a process. So we said that, okay, let's move from the inspiration, the motivation. Let's move from bringing people to the studios to inspire this very important segment of the society, and let's go out there to the field, gather the young people, give them the tools they need so that they change their world. That is how the whole leadership diary training program started.
That is so amazing to hear, and I'm excited because I was also a beneficiary of the Leadership Diary Training Program. I think that I was not really a radio person in my younger days, so I'm really glad that it shifted from a radio program to an in-person event, which I had the privilege of attending in the year 2019. And as you were saying, the intentionality of giving direction and giving young people something to do and a place to, to be and to grow is what I think personally for me, I'm excited that I had the opportunity to experience the Leadership Diary Training Program. And on that note, let's come to a conversation on the Leadership Diary Training Program. You've often said that real and effective leaders are in short supply.
That's true.
In those early years, moving from a media program to the Leadership Diary Training Program, which we know as LDTP, what did you discover about the African youth story that shifted the mission from just talking to building?
I discovered that the African youth story is being written by everyone apart from that young person. I discovered that everybody had his own mind and opinion about young people. And we felt that young people were system the time bomb. We said that young people are lazy. And everybody had their own version. And we realized that it was about time that young people will be able to have their own version of their stories. And how do young people have their own version of their story? Through training, through equipping them, through helping them, and through ensuring that they are the architects of their own story. So I discovered that parents had their own mind about young people.
Yeah.
Leaders had their own mind about young people. Everybody had his own story to tell. But we must move from that. We had to move from that for young people to be able to tell their own story. So that is how all this Leadership Diary Training Program and all these things came about. It was all about intentional processing. It was all about moving from a talk shop to a workshop. It was all about ensuring that we go through the mill and we become that refined product.
It was about going through the mill and becoming that refined product. That's really stands out. And I've noticed that, I think we get to the conversation of how the Leadership Diary Training Program has evolved over the years, introducing projects like the Community Impact Project and things like that. So the conversation in the studio is just getting started, and we are getting intrigued and excited about where we've come from and how the Youth Arise organization came about. So we're going to go on a quick break, and when we come back, we would move talking about our social sovereignty. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be right back after a quick break.
For everybody seated here, you have a talent, you have a skill, and you have an ability. And when you see SA that is in you, that you must explore, that you must awaken, and that you must ignite.
When a of Youth Arise organization, LDTP has spent over a decade transforming young people into confident, innovative, and community-minded leaders.
More impactful than ever before. The program builds essential leadership capacities
with personal development, international diplomacy, artificial intelligence and machine learning, and creative innovation. But we don't stop at theory. Let's take shape and turn into real change. Participants will step into the communities with open hearts and determined minds to identify pressing local challenges, design transformative solutions, execute projects that leave lasting impact.
Say, yeah, you made a mistake. Because, LDTP is a transformational program.
Program, we do more than create leaders. We ignite the future, fuel action, and shape responsible agents of change, ready to face the challenges of today and to lead our world. Africa's leaders are emerging now. LDTP, where leaders emerge.
Welcome back from the break. You're still watching the Arise Dialogue series, and we are picking up the conversation from where we left off. Back to you, Chief.
Yes.
So your vision mentions moving from aid to agency. Can you explain what you mean by social sovereignty? What does that mean? And why is it vital for the African youth to own their own narrative rather than being characters in someone else's story?
Social sovereignty is simply the ability of a community to define their own problems and then find solutions to their problems and fund those solutions by themselves. That is what social sovereignty is about. It's about moving away from being aid dependent to being solution oriented and to have the ability to fund yourself. Social sovereignty is about moving away from becoming a guest in this global world to become an architect in this global world. Yeah. For far too long, you realize that most people and on this continent, we have been aid dependent. We are always waiting for someone to give us money. You realize that a bridge can break down in a community, and they are waiting for the government, central government, to bring them funding to fix a bridge that they could have done something about. The community lacks water, and they are waiting for a donor somewhere to come and help them, whereas they could have come together and be able to fund their own projects and provide water. But you see, there are simple things that we can do in our communities that we may not need direct aid.
Yeah.
But we are always relaxed, sitting down and waiting for aid to come before we proceed. So if I talk about social sovereignty, all I'm talking about is that let's move away from becoming a guest. Yeah. Let's move away from becoming spectators. Let's join the game. Let's be part of the players in this field. Africa is going nowhere if all we are talking about is we are waiting for aid, for donations, and for all that. We are not going anywhere. And what has sustained our mission is because we have not only been aid dependent, both in seasons when we had support and in seasons where we didn't have support, we ran our programs and our activities. Wow. And we have not had a break in the last 13 years. We've not had a break even for a year. In the name of there is no funding.
That's something very, very cool.
We don't have money. We didn't get the sponsorship that we needed. Every activity of us had taken place because we did not depend on aid. So if you want to understand all that this social sovereignty I've been talking about for some time now, is simply, look, identify the challenge, get a solution, and find the solution. That is what it's about.
Wow. And it's very commendable to hear that for 13 years now, running Youth Arise, running the Leadership Diary Training Program, there has not been a break. Even in, the COVID year, when everybody was scared to go outside, we still experienced the Leadership Diary Training Program. And that's just something, worth commending. And on that note, I want us to come to a conversation on the end in mind. The Youth Arise Creed speaks about leaving a watermark, on the world where you stood, leaving a watermark where you stood. What is the ultimate end in mind? Considering our conversation on social sovereignty, considering how we want to move from aid to actually doing something in our communities without waiting for help to come from somewhere else, what is the end in mind for the organization? And if the organization is to succeed perfectly, what would the world look like?
Steffi, this is a huge question. And sometimes when I think about the end in mind, personally I ask myself, is it possible? But we know impossible situations become possible. So we'll keep dreaming, and we'll keep having that end in mind. I ask myself, is it possible that one day the term developing nation will become obsolete? Is it possible? Is it possible that a young person in Accra or Nairobi or London or Tokyo or Madrid would have the same opportunity and access? Is it possible? That is a question that we've been asking ourselves in Youth Arise, and that is a question that we've been trying to look for answers to. And every morning when we wake up and we go to the office and we have meetings, we ask ourselves, even if the term obsolete, even if the term developing nation does not become obsolete, is it possible to give people equal access or close to equal access? Is it possible to build models where communities and nations will come and learn from? So what is the end in mind? The end in mind is the possibility of seeing a model that works around the world and across the globe. That is the end in mind that we are looking at. Thank you.
That is a very powerful end in mind. I don't know, as you were speaking, the song African Dream comes to my mind, thinking of the big vision, the big dream, what we can actually achieve. And I'm excited, or let me say, as you spoke about the vision, I felt something stirred in me about how we can actually, there's a vision, and I don't know how many people actually have such a vision, thinking of a certain world for us, but it's exciting to see that there's a group of young people out there who are envisioning Africa or Ghana moving, or us moving from the conversation of developing countries.
Creativity emerges when people begin to think about what can I do for my world, and what can I do for the society, and what can I do for others. When we stop asking ourselves, what can you do for me? What can my world do for me? What can my government do for me? What can society do for me? What can my leaders do for me? But we start having conversations on what can we do for our world. Everything changes. We start thinking about sovereignty. We begin to think about what we can really do to become architects in a world that really need solutions.
And on that note, talking about how we are moving into a world that really how we're talking about how creativity is birthed when we stop thinking of what our governments can do for us, but what we can do for our communities and for our societies. The question comes to mind about how you've recently moved or restructured Youth Arise into a federation of 7 specialized agencies, like the Arise Center for Holistic Health, Wellness and Nutrition for Health, and the Youth Alliance for Agricultural Transformation, focusing on agricultural innovation. What are these agencies, and why was this shift from a single organization to an ecosystem necessary to truly architect change?
Steffi, because life is not lived in a silo, you cannot, one single agency and one single organization cannot solve our problems. If you are hungry, you cannot innovate. So YAFAT comes in to solve the hunger issues. And what is YAFAT? The Youth Alliance for Agricultural Transformation. How young people can come together to transform agriculture. When you are done solving the hunger issues, now you can innovate. That is where the STEM Explorers Network comes in. so that we move from being consumers to creators. When you have a mental health, you cannot be stable. When you have health issues, your productivity is reduced to inactivity.
Yeah.
That is where the Rise Center for Holistic Health, Wellness and Nutrition comes in. After being healthy, if you don't have a team of productive people, you will not be able to scale up, and you will not be able to achieve what you want to achieve. You are not even going to have entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And that is where the Orange Professional Network comes in. If you have professionals who are ready, if you have young people who are ready to do all that they must do, and there is no leadership opportunities, there is not a group that have built their leadership skills, that have built their entrepreneurial skills, that thinks about community issues, they will not be able to do much. And that is where Youth Arise organization comes in. And when Youth Arise organization comes in, and after young people they've done all the marvelous things that they want to do, if nobody projects what they are doing, how will what they are doing go out there? And how would other people be inspired? And how would we know the new things that young people are coming out with? So one organization cannot do everything, and we cannot build in silo. We must all come together to be able to do what we must do. That we cannot take away art entertainment and releasing the stress of the pressure of this world out of our lives. And that is where the Rise Center for Art, Culture, Entertainment comes in. And let me tell you something, society is shaped by what we see. And every movie, every drama, every music, every poem is communicating a message to people directly and indirectly. And we cannot take our art and society, we cannot take our art and culture for granted. A generation by the music they listen to. And if we want to build a society that transforms our world, then movies, arts, entertainment is never something we can take out. That is why we are building, that is why we've built a federation of agencies to transform our world and to give people the right message and the right food to consume.
Wow. As we are talking about our 7 agencies that have emerged, or how we've shifted from a single organization to this ecosystem, it brings me to how you are constantly talking about how leaders raise leaders.
Yeah.
And as a leader, I've seen you do so much work in raising other leaders, young people, to make such great influence in their communities and their societies. And talking about how leaders raise leaders, we want to talk about our institutional resilience. Many non-governmental organizations disappear after a few years. You hear about them today, tomorrow they are no longer around. What is Youth Arise doing differently to ensure that you don't disappear after some time? It's been 13 years. This year will mark the 14th year of doing this work. What are we doing to ensure that we don't disappear after some time?
We are building an organization that is too useful to fail. That's the first thing we are doing. We are coming up with things that is so needed that we just cannot fail. And that is why we are building labs that helps us. We are building labs, what we call our sustainability labs. So for instance, we are not just an NGO that is thinking about capacity building. We get to the ground. If it's agric, a sustainability lab in the sector where we promote businesses, and where businesses can be, where the businesses that we build can be the medium through which we fund our activities. So with or without donor funding, we are able to move on. We are building an organization that young people so love, that they are ready to give their lives to, they are ready to commit to it, and they are ready to support.
Yeah.
So what are we doing? Look, what has sustained our mission for this last 13 years is that the people we serve, they know that they truly need the services we are offering them.
Yeah.
And if you truly need something, whatever you do to get it, you will get it. It's like water. You cannot do without water.
Mm-hmm.
You need water. And we are building an organization that is like water, that you cannot do without water. You can decide to stay without water for some time, but with time you realize that we need this.
That's true.
So what are we doing? Two things. One, building an organization that is so useful to fill, that bridges a gaps and solves so much of problems that we are needed all the time. And two, we are putting up sustainability labs, identifying businesses that we can engage in, that serves as an engine for our work to continue with or without funding.
Wow, the world should watch out for a system or for an organization that's going nowhere anytime soon, because we are putting systems in place to ensure that the work of this organization, of this ecosystem, is timeless. And as we prepare to wrap up our conversation, we're going to go on a quick break. When we come back, we have our rapid fire questions with Chief Moses Bafo. We'll be back after a quick break.
Every year is a moment to refocus, relearn the basics, and to realign with purpose. To take a break from the work of your work to work on your mind. Here, connections are formed, ideas are exchanged, and relationships are strengthened. Because growth requires intention, greater focus, new insights, and timeless principles revisited. SYC pushes you out of your comfort zone and into new ways of thinking, leading, and serving. Make it a point to be there. Sharpen Your Soul Conference 2026. Register now and secure your seat.
Welcome back from that break. You're still watching the Arise Dialogue series, and if you are listening to the conversation, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So now, Chief, before I let you go, we have a tradition here, and we call it the Arise Rapid Fire.
Wow, Arise Rapid Fire.
So I'm going to give you
I hope I'll not be on fire.
I'm going to give you two options on a short prompt, and you're going to give me the first word that comes to your mind. No long explanations, just your gut reaction. So,
okay.
Are we ready for this?
I'm ready. Let's see.
Awesome. So, rapid fire questions coming in now. Leadership or service?
Are the same things. You cannot have one without the another.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get into that.
You cannot have leadership without serving, and you cannot serve without leading. Anyone serving is leading, anyone leading is serving.
Serving. Wow. My next question. A book that changed your life?
2. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Purpose-driven life.
Wow. If you are listening, this is pointers on how to read books that will change your life truly. Late nights or early mornings?
Early mornings. Architects build in the morning. Early in the morning.
The biggest myth about African youth is
that they are lazy. They are not lazy. They are only undertooled. Never. Nobody should believe it. African youth are not lazy. They are undertooled and they lack direction. That's all.
One word to describe the future of Youth Arise.
Inevitable.
Inevitable. Okay.
You said one word, so that means you don't need explanation. So inevitable.
If you weren't the global CEO of Youth Arise, what would you be doing?
Teaching or farming. Teaching because I am a builder of people at heart.
Yeah.
I love to build people. If I was not doing Youth Arise, I'll be teaching. And farming because I want people to be satisfied and comfortable. Let me produce food for people to be satisfied so that they can create and do what they want to do.
Wonderful. And before I even go to my next question, I am a product of that quality of Chief teaching, because I met Chief in 2019 after the Leadership Diary Training Program, and that was where the mentorship journey began. And over the years, he's been so deliberate and so intentional about my growth. I've learned so much. If I look at myself, who I was in 2019, comparing it to myself now, hosting a show, sitting here with my mentor, having such a thoughtful conversation, I truly agree that, if you were not doing this, you'll be teaching. And I'm glad that I had the chance to experience you in this phase of your life doing this, because it has shaped who I am, and it has made me a better person in so many ways. It has shaped the way I think. It has shaped the way I approach things. And it's still building me constantly because you are still teaching. So I'm just excited about that. And that takes me to my next or my final question. Complete this sentence.
Hey, please, I beg you. As for complete a sentence, I may need some help.
I think you got this.
Okay.
To arise is to...
What does it mean to arise? To arise is to take responsibility and do something worthwhile with your life. To arise is to take responsibility. Not a lot of people arise. A lot of people are stuck at one place. They are seated at one place. And when you arise, it means that you move from one position to another. And what are you moving from the position to do? To take responsibility and to do something worthwhile with your life.
Wow. And Chief, has been an absolute, masterclass in visionary leadership. And it's been such an inspiring conversation to have with you today, talking about us architecting change, and how architecting change is not about big buildings or fancy titles and all of that, but it's about building systems where young people aren't just surviving, but truly sovereign. And I want to say thank you so much for joining us in the studio. And before we end this conversation, I want to know if there's anything you want to say to young people specifically out there.
Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. No matter the challenges that come your way, don't give up. And keep pushing. Whether you have people who believe in you or not, keep pushing. Seek for mentorship if you have the opportunity. If there is a way, if you have somebody who is willing to mentor and help you, allow yourself to be mentored. It will become the game changer of your life. I think we must have this conversation again, because I was not able to share a lot of stories that I would often love to share in conversations like this. My whole life was transformed by a mentor, and mentorship has changed my life and continues to change my life. So every young person listening to me, if you have an opportunity to be mentored, don't miss out on that opportunity, and don't give up, and don't let anyone look down on you, and just keep. Look, the good thing about being young is that you are not too old, and you don't have the you cannot say that, oh, I'm done living my life. You still have a lot of life ahead of you. Let me say one thing. We are ending the show, but let me say one thing. One of the things that actually kept me going was that I said to myself that, well, I'm young. If I feel I can do something else, so let me keep doing this thing. Let me keep doing this thing. And I kept doing this thing and became my life's work. So you are young. Keep doing what you are doing. If there's an opportunity to be mentored, seek mentorship. And if you don't have the opportunity, and if everyone is discouraging and you are convinced and convicted, just keep going. As you are going on the lane, you meet one or two on that same road, on that same journey, and you'll be able to walk with them, and you'll be amazed what your life would become. So keep journeying, keep going, don't give up, and see you where the eagles fly.
Wow, such timeless wisdom that has been shared by our guest, Mr. Moses Bafo-Iwa, who we passionately call Chief. And I think that these final words have truly been inspiring for me listening, and for any young person out there. The charge has been simple. Don't give up. Keep on pushing, keep on working hard towards achieving your goal. And as Chief said, if you realize that what you're doing, because sometimes you don't get a lot of support on the journey, but knowing that one or two people would encourage you to go on, as you said, it makes all the difference. And I'm glad I found my one person who pushes me to keep going on in this journey.
This body of young professionals commit to training our members in the essence of our work, to impact young people everywhere, and to remain deeply rooted in what makes us who we are.
There is more work to be done, and we need your support. Youth work needs more hands, more hearts, and more voices. It needs yours. If you've ever wanted to make a difference, now is your time. Partner with us to support the mission to the young people of the world. Visit our website at youtharise.org to learn more.
To our viewers across the globe on Orange TV, today's conversation leaves us with one beautiful truth. Change is not an accident. If we want a future that works, we have to design it. We've seen how Youth Arise has evolved from a single radio voice into a global federation of 7 agencies, proving that when you combine a clear vision with a sustainable system, that impossible becomes inevitable. The question we leave you with today is this: in the grand architecture of your community, are you a spectator or are you an architect? It's time to stop waiting for the future and start building it. I've been your host, Steffi Tekpete. This has been the Arise Dialogue series, architecting the future, one dialogue at a time. Join us next time. Until we meet again, continue to engage with minds that reshape our world. Until then, this has been the Arise Dialogue series. Have a wonderful evening, and it's bye-bye from us in the studio. Bye-bye.